So this weekend is full of fights. March is pretty interesting when it comes to boxing. Um, the 19th in particular, man, we got a lot of good fights coming up this weekend. And one that I wasn't aware of is Blair Cobbs, who has been rather vocal in the boxing world lately, as he came out earlier this week stating that Errol Spence is scared of, he's afraid of Terrence Crawford and called him an alcoholic and saying he's cursed. So, he's receiving a lot of backlash from the pro Spence channels and a lot of the LDBC dudes and females, whatever you want to call them. But he's having a fight this weekend. Blair Cobbs, he hasn't exactly been the most active fighter. His last fight, actually, I'm wrong about that. His last fight was, well, yeah. I mean, that's not really being active. He only fought once last year, so that was June against a guy named Brad Solomon, and he knocked him out in the 5th round. But he still is not as active as he should be. In most boxes, I mean, nowadays, 3 fights is decent. 3 fights a year. Back then, man, fighters used to fight all the time. Some fighters 5, 6 times a year. Jerron Ennis is probably one of the most busiest fighters, man, out there. He's fought. He's a stay busy fighter. That's why I respect him. And Canelo Alvarez too. I gotta respect that too. He's a stay busy fighter as well. So I gotta give it to Canelo on that one. But let's talk about this fight. How is it going to go? And this is my prediction. I've been watching some of Blair Cobb's fights. I've probably watched through the years, maybe like 3, 4 of his fights. Man, I haven't really followed him that heavy, but I've started watching him back in like 2019. I've seen a few of his fights. Got good power, decent power. He has 15 wins. No losses, 1 draw, and 10 wins by way of knockout. So he has a 62% KO ratio, which is pretty good. He's one of those awkward fighters. He likes to showboat. He's a showboater. Has decent speed. His showboating is kind of like that's like his defense. I wouldn't say Blair Cobbs is the poster child for defense, but he has some good pop. There's a lot to be worked on. He doesn't tuck his chin. That's another flaw in Blair Cobbs that I've seen. I've seen him get hit flush a few times in some of his fights. I think I may have seen him buzzed a couple of times, but nothing like too crazy. But his challenger, Alexis Rocha, he has, I've never heard of this guy. Not sure who the hell he is. He has 18 wins, 1 loss, 12 wins by way of knockout. So he also has some good power. 63% KO ratio, slightly higher than Blair Cobbs, just a little bit. And that 1 loss came from Rashidi Speedy Ellis. Gave him his first loss back in 2020. Unanimous decision, 12 rounds. So, Rashidi Ellis, he lost to somebody that has a decent name. So, not bad. But I never heard of this guy. But he put you in the mind of like his fighting style. He kind of like holds up his guard like Mikey Garcia. He reminds me of a heavier, bigger Mikey Garcia because he's 5'10". He's like a bigger Mikey. Look at him fight. Go back and watch some of Alexis Rocha's fights. And he does look like he's postured like Mikey Garcia. He hits hard. Looks like he has some good power. Probably has the edge and power over Blair Cobbs, it looks like. He has no special effects either. He just comes forward. How is this fight gonna go? I see it being a slugfest for most of the fight. Blair Cobbs definitely has the edge and mobility over this guy. He definitely moves around much better. But I ultimately see this fight, more than likely this fight is gonna go to the cards. I don't see any any knockouts in this fight, man, for some reason. But they both have the potential to do it. And if I was to say who was gonna get knocked out first, I would be honest, man. The way this Alexis Rocha dude fights and Blair Cobbs, I would say Blair Cobbs will get knocked out first. But I think this fight's gonna go to the cards, and I got Blair Cobbs pulling it off. It looks because Blair Cobbs has the mobility over this guy, to being able to move in and out of his punches. But Blair Cobbs is gonna stand there and trade, and then he's gonna dip out. I don't think he's gonna stand there too long trading with this guy. I don't think it'll be a smart thing to do. If he does, he has a chance of getting knocked out by this guy, because this guy could punch. So I got this fight going to Blair Cobbs, 12th round. I think it's going to be a split. I think this is going to be a banger. So I'm giving this fight a split decision for Blair Cobbs. Let me know what you think about this fight between Blair Cobbs and Alexis Rocha coming up this Saturday. This is Rebel Life Boxing, and I'm off this.